Cars will soon drive us, and if you think that means more time to play games on your phone or do makeup or have a beer on the way to the concert, I want you to think bigger. Future cars will do a lot more than get you from point A to point B. There'll be mobile offices and living pods equipped with virtual reality and AI and capable of traveling hundreds of miles per hour. In this video, we'll look at why cars are this close to an explosive transformation and how they'll change your daily life. Lastly, we'll stir your imagination with the design and technology of future cars. Hello YouTube, I am futurist Ersan Seer, and I like to stay in the loop with science and technology and share insights about the future that you won't get elsewhere. And if the future excites you too, then subscribe. Now let's talk self-driving cars, aka autonomous vehicles or driverless cars. So right now, big companies like Tesla, Ford, Waymo, Uber, and Lyft are racing to release the first full auto cars. And by full auto, I mean fully autonomous, when cars can start, drive, and park without a human on board, and when they can drive safely alongside human-driven cars. The coming car purpose explosion. Today, cars serve one purpose, transportation. But when they evolve to serve many purposes, it will be at astonishing speed, like a Cambrian explosion. So when this happens to a product, I call it a purpose explosion. We actually just witnessed another purpose explosion for a different product. See if you can guess the product. So 2/3 of humans own one, most use it daily, and for a long time, this product served one purpose, and suddenly it blossomed to serve many purposes. What's the product? That's right, your telephone. But why did phones suddenly evolve so explosively? They were working just fine for conversation. Let's look at the telephone's purpose explosion and see what that can tell us about the coming car purpose explosion. For over 100 years, phones had one purpose. They transmitted conversation and that's it. But then some anchor prevented phones from evolving. And that anchor was that using a landline phone was all-encompassing. You were leashed to a wall, you're one-handed, and you were usually confined to a 5-foot radius. And if you're leashed to a wall, there's no need for Google Maps or Wi-Fi or Uber or a grocery list app. There's no need for a purpose explosion. But then some catalyst cut that leash and sped up the telephone's evolution. Mobility. Mobile phones could be used in a variety of situations, making way for the purpose explosion. And suddenly you could play Snake 2 at the doctor's office, take pictures out in the world. Now your phone in that short time has become a navigator, TV, browser, video recorder, shopping tool, multiplayer gaming device, fitness tracker, and that's what a purpose explosion looks like. Now let's apply this model to cars. So for over 100 years, cars had one purpose, transportation. Like with phones, the anchor preventing cars from evolving is that usage is all-encompassing. You can't read a book or paint while driving. You're leashed to the steering wheel. So what catalyst will cut that leash and speed up evolution? Driverless technology. This is the stage we're at in 2019, just before the purpose explosion. Tons of car manufacturers and even rideshare apps are working on driverless technology. When cars can fully drive us, we'll use them for other purposes like living and working and perpetual travel, and thus will begin the car purpose explosion. Right now, we're at the cusp of an extraordinary moment in automotive history. Next up, let's look at how self-driving cars will change day-to-day life. I want to tell you something. My plan in this channel is to make intriguing videos about the future. My predictions won't always be right, but that's okay. I want to stir the imagination so that we can design the future the way that we want it. So help me build this channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's talk in the comments. Self-driving cars will change daily life. I'm going to share something with you that really bothers me. Driving to commute is a sad, terrible waste of life. The average US commute is 1 hour or 5% of your waking life. And that's a lot of time spent turning a wheel and pushing pedals and road raging and brooding about a coworker or zoning out. All that beautiful time is just seeping away day by day. But not for long. Self-driving technology will free up that time so that we can use it productively or for fun. Today, if you're like most corporate employees, you work at a fixed location. I call this location locked. But what if you could work in transit? Your daily commute could disappear. So this is your commute schedule today, and this is your work schedule. You travel in the morning, travel in the evening, and you work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And right now, they're stuck together Monday through Friday. But with a mobile office, they get unstuck. You'll be able to travel wherever or whenever you want at 3 a.m. or 1 p.m. and still work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Say you leave home in Sacramento in the morning, you work for 4 hours as your car drives to Denver through super fast tunnels and roadways, and you eat lunch with your client in Denver, and then you're back at home in Sacramento in time for dinner. And that's just Mondays, because Tuesdays you go to Portland, and Wednesday through Friday you go to New York, and on the weekends you go to the Rocky Mountains with your family. Self-driving technology will also redefine home. People bit by the travel bug will adopt a touring lifestyle, and more people will perpetually live in travel. Mobility exhaustion will be a thing. So I think we'll see a counterculture which embraces location-locked living. Impact on culture. Ease of travel will spread us around. And over the decades, this will blur regional accents, cuisines, languages, and culture overall. And does that mean the world will become one big, bland, boring culture? No, absolutely not. However much the lines blur, humans will always build niche communities which grow into cultures. So the future holds just as much cultural variety as we have today. So who will own cars? Will it be people or government and companies providing public transit? All of the above. Actually, you won't even have to live in a car. You could live in a nice, affordable suburban house, and for transportation, just tap into the network of hundreds of thousands of self-driving cars swarming around. And you could pay each month like you do for tap water based on usage. This scenario is super efficient, but the car situation today is absurdly inefficient. A car is expensive to buy, fuel, maintain, repair, and it depreciates in value. It requires a parking space, and worst of all, it's parked for 23 hours a day, just a dead lump of metal. But what if it were a self-driving car, which after dropping you off to work, went to drive someone else, and it did this for 12 hours a day? One car could meet the needs of 10 or even 20 people, and the number of cars on the road could decrease by 50 to 80%. Cities could become serene, with less noise pollution and frustrating traffic. We've all seen sci-fi movies with beautiful architecture that's bright and modern, and greenery everywhere, with transportation weaving seamlessly throughout the architecture. And there's an overall sense of harmony. Some cities will hopefully evolve this way. It really depends on how a city chooses to incorporate driverless technology. On the other hand, some cities will keep growing wider and upward. It'll be claustrophobic and gritty and charming, like every cyberpunk world that you've dreamt of living in. And I think we'll see cities like this too. Design and technology of autonomous vehicles. Era 1, full autonomy. This will be in the next 4 to 10 years. The first full auto cars will look a lot like cars now, just with extra features sneaking in, things like swiveling seats and better overhead lighting. Ability to coexist with human drivers will be crucial. I think we'll see a blending of full auto cars next to human-driven cars on the same road. Many people won't want to give up driving until they're convinced that self-driving cars are safe. Freak crashes will make worldwide news, and they'll scare people. But over time, data will show that full auto cars are faster, with fewer crashes and lower mortality rates, and people will be won over. It's just a matter of time. Era 2, the purpose explosion, the big bang of car evolution. This should take place over the course of 5 to 30 years from now. In this period, your car will evolve into a kind of RV, except far smarter than any RV that exists today, as well as more nimble, less cookie cutter, and more customized to your specific needs. Cars will get a lot faster, as self-driving technology shows a growing track record of superhuman reflexes and accident prevention. Cars will become capable of regular safe travel at 150 miles per hour. We'll see roadways and tunnels for self-driving cars only, because human reflexes won't even suffice at those speeds. Cities will have traffic central commands communicating with all the cars. One city's command might be authoritarian, telling cars how to travel, which lane, what speed, which route to take. But another city's command might be more liberal, giving guidance that each car can choose to ignore, potentially bringing more chaos and accidents into the system. The authoritarian seems a little safer, doesn't it? Until an extremist hacker gains access to the network and forces thousands of cars to hurtle into buildings at 100 miles per hour. That wouldn't happen as easily under the liberal command, where you might see only one car going rogue instead of a whole fleet of cars. Era 3, mobile living pods. This should be in about 20 to 50 years. I love thinking about this period. Automakers will truly accept cars as mobile living spaces, and they'll go nuts creating amazing technology. Smart materials will bring instant customizability. So imagine this. You're traveling and it's dinner time, but there's no dinner table in your pod. The clock hits 6 p.m. and a delicate chime alerts you to step back from a glowing yellow rectangle on the floor. And there your table rises out of the floor, made of shape-changing smart materials. Need a bigger cup holder or more back support? Just ask the AI to make adjustments. Cars and location-locked living spaces may merge. So say you have an apartment 50 years from now. There's no need to take an elevator. There's no need for a garage because your car is part of the apartment's interior. To leave, you simply go sit in your car and it seals shut and the wall closes behind you, and then your car descends down the side of the building to enter directly onto the roadway grid. Cars will get ridiculously fast. If you haven't heard of the Hyperloop, Quartz.com described it like this. Vehicles are lowered on platforms into underground tracks that whisk them off to their destination before raising them back to street level to complete their journey. I love the wording because it's similar to a prediction that I published in 2012, just before Elon Musk published his Hyperloop Alpha concept in 2013. This is what I said. Think of autonomous cars as personal trains. In the future, we may have ultra highways. Your autonomous car will take you to a waiting station, and then it will enter a vacuumed chamber, and you'll be whisked away like Superman. Maglev trains have been around for decades. When you put one of those into a vacuum tunnel with less air resistance, things get wild. It's called a vac train, and in theory, it could send trains or cars up to 4,000 to 5,000 miles per hour. Do I think we'll get that fast? Not soon. But in the next 20 to 50 years, I do think cars will attain 600 miles per hour inside tunnels and 300 miles per hour above ground. For years, I felt that self-driving cars would benefit from tunnels and vac train technology. Turns out Elon Musk, the same guy, is spearheading all three with Tesla, the Boring Company, and the Hyperloop. And I think he also intended to merge the three technologies from the beginning. In this period, AI will provide ultra-safe travel. As crazy as it sounds, automakers didn't focus on accident prevention until the last decade or so. They focused instead on damage reduction from accidents, with features like crumple zones and airbags. But in the future, if you crash at 300 miles per hour, a crumple zone won't do much for you. So the new safety focus must be accident prevention. In this period, you'll also have profound experiences inside your mobile living pod. Most surfaces inside your car will be electronic displays that can also function as clear windows, dimmable windows, and displays which mimic a window. And you can choose any combination of those. With electronic displays mimicking windows, you'll see the city going by, but to outsiders, your car will just be an opaque shell. Now imagine this powerful interior being used for virtual reality. You could play an RPG, or watch an immersive movie, or attend a meeting with your coworkers, or go shopping in Neil Stephenson's metaverse. For those of us who love mindfulness, imagine yoga or meditation inside your car in the morning, zipping through a forest. Your car will monitor your body's vital signs and guide you moment by moment through a meditation that's perfectly tailored to help you build resilience. You know, over 50% of you are viewing this video on an incredible device which can do so much more than its humble beginnings. It's so much more than a phone, and yet we still call it that. So too will we call our future vehicles cars, even as they rapidly evolve in front of our eyes to become so much more than their humble beginnings. I'm thankful to be alive during this time, to watch as driverless technology opens the floodgates, and to see this amazing transformation unfold. I'm Ersan Seer. Thanks for joining me on this journey.